Hey everybody, how you doing? It's your friend, it's your brother, it's me, it's Dwight, and I'm super excited. I have my best friend with me today. This is a very special edition of Just My Thoughts, something we're starting. And I'm gonna probably get him to be a regular if he agrees to it, because my friend has so much to say. My friend, my brother, and I love him for real. Mr. Derek Scantlin. Love you, love you, man. Love you
Love
for
you too.
real, for real. he
Thanks for
has
having
um
me.
he has done so much in the gospel music industry. He's done so much in the industry, period. And I love him for real. Derek is the reason why I work in gospel music, and that is because let me turn my volume down. That's because he introduced me to so much. So y'all do me a favor, come on in, love, like, and share this. This is not a prayer. This is not a midday, noonday prayer. This is commentary, and it's just our thoughts. So the things that we gather and say are completely our thoughts. All the information that we will give is information that has already been released online. So everything that we may say or we may feel is our thoughts, and their information that has been allegedly said and that has been already put out there. So we're not saying anything that's not proven. All right. All right. So I love you. And we're going to just show this real quick. Y'all, please. Hey, Carolyn. Hey, Cora. Hey, Sister Calloway. All of you, y'all do us a favor. Share. Please share this because this is a very interesting topic. Hey, Sister Agla, all you all that's on. This is a very interesting topic, and it's geared around gospel music or the gospel music industry. Before I get any further, Derek, I just wanted them to talk to you about all of the artists that you've worked with. Everybody knows Derek, from R&B to gospel to jazz. He grew up a native here in Jacksonville. His family is very prestigious. The Scantlin family, they used to own Jazz Cole. if you're not a native, come
You
on.
better not.
If you're not a native of Jacksonville, you won't know the history of Jazz Cole and how prominent it was in our community. But Derek, just talk a little bit on your thoughts.
Uh, Hello, everyone. Of course, I'm Derek, Dwight's longtime friend. We went to school together. Um, Grew up in Duval County, Duval. Moved to Atlanta in 2000 because of entertainment. Did my first show with this lady named Yolanda Adams in 2001. She was pregnant with Taylor at the time. Moved here to go on the road and build more relationships with artists, to do what I do. Can I sing? Yes. Do I sing? No. I like to do the behind the scene work. Your assistant, your cook, your let me help you get dressed, all of that stuff. So that's what I've been doing since I've been here in Atlanta. Have worked on a couple of movie sets also. Was in a movie with this guy named Aaron Pierre. Didn't know who he was at the time, but extremely nice guy. Now everybody know who he is. I've been on the road with several gospel artists, and a couple of R&B artists. My last full-time artist that I work with is Mr. Frankie Beverly, also known as May. So that's little old me, little young man from Duval County, born in the projects that many said wouldn't really go nowhere, but because of the man upstairs, he has allowed me to get indoors that people with degrees haven't been able to get in. So
Yeah.
that's the gist of it. And
Yeah.
all of these
Well,
thoughts are my personal opinion that comes out of my mouth. My personal opinion, this
yeah.
person.
That's true. That's true. And listen, we're not going to be long, but we just going to share our thoughts on certain topics and certain things that are so relevant going on. All right. So what we're doing before we go any further, we're going to watch this little clip. It's only 2 minutes long, and we're going to watch this and we're going to talk about this, and we're going to share some. Hey, Denise Hall said, "Hey, two of my favorite people."
Oh,
Let me see. I don't think it's letting me do it this time. But normally I could highlight some of y'all comments, but we'll work that out later. But I just want to say this. This is a 2 minute thing. Listen to it in its entirety. Listen to it. Derek, you might need to no, I don't think you should have to mute. If you hear echo, then mute. But we just want to hear what Deitrick Haddon had to say. And like again, this is going to probably be a continuous podcast with me and my best friend on things that are going on in the arts, from movies to television. And people got to understand culture affects everything. Pop culture affects how we think, how we move, and how we maneuver. So listen to this little clip that is being played, that we're getting ready to play, and then we're going to share our thoughts and give you some information that you may not have known about a major network. Some people don't understand the ins and outs of the business of entertainment and shows and production. So let's watch this.
The gospel music industry needs an overhaul, period. After last night's show, it's an indicator that we just need a complete reset. Like what are we doing? Are we allowing this to happen over and over again and wonder why the gospel music industry is dying? Come on, man. In order to have something different, you have to do something different. So we need people in the room that know gospel music, that's in the trenches of gospel music, that's advocating for the genre as a whole and not one particular person. It's already a small genre. So it's hard for us to watch the Dr. Boby Jones Gospel Award being given to somebody that's not in our space, right? No disrespect to the artist, but that's not the space she's in. And so it makes it discouraging, disappointing, and it takes the wind out of all of it. And we wonder why gospel music is dying. It's because we're doing things like that. Well, on top of that is, we're tired. Nobody will say this, but I will. Of seeing the same people being celebrated year after year. Like there is nobody else in gospel music. Like no one else is working. You cannot just give it to one person as if they're the ones that's keeping it going. No. We're done with that. Last night was a great win for the ratings for BET. I give certain people awards for ratings, but it was not a win for the gospel music industry. We got to do better. So I propose let's start something where we can come together and have someone advocating for the genre that have no other motive and agenda in the room but to elevate the gospel music genre as a whole. That's what I...
All right. Now, Derek, he said a mouthful. Y'all, please share this. Those of you who are watching and who are on with us, we're going to highlight your comments too, because we want to give you guys some time to speak on this and say some things. So, Derek, what you've heard so far, let me hear what you got to say about it.
Well, I agree with what he said, and I understand the point of view where he's coming from. You know, I'm not going to say any names because he didn't say any names, but I have heard of the person who did receive that award. You know, I don't know her background or her history, you know, whether she's from the church or not from the church or whatever. But pertaining to what Deitrick is saying, like for the type of the genre of music that she's really known for does not represent the genre of music that we listen to, that we are a part of, which is the gospel. Now, I will say this because I was having a conversation last week about somebody about acting or actress. You know, that's a job that they took. So because they're in a particular movie and whatever scenes they did, doesn't mean that they're not saved or they are saved. It's a job. But when you have someone who's in a particular industry and it doesn't shine light on the man upstairs consistently, it's like a conflict of interest. Now, we all hear, when people win any type of awards, whatever, they always, first I want to thank God. But I just think people just say that just because that's the normal thing to say, like if you really take into perspective what he wants or what he requires from us, a lot of people wouldn't do some of the things that they do. But I also understand this is a money-making industry. Also, it is a business. You know, country music is a business, R&B is a business, rap is a business, hip hop is a business, and as far as the gospel industry, it is a business too. But our business should be pretty much led by based on our biblical principles of what the word requires of us to be a peculiar people in this world that we currently live in. So that's my perspective on some of them anyway.
And you do, and they got to understand that gospel music or any music genre, the business is basic. It's the foundation.
Yeah.
Everything has to have a business to it. Now, Derek, let's give them a little bit of history on this. I'm gonna put some things on the screen for people to check out just in case they may not know. BET is not owned by, hey Teresa, good to see you. It's not owned by African Americans
Anymore.
It was anymore. You're right, Derek. Thank you. Here it is. Here's this guy right here. Mr. Robert Johnson. Mr. Robert Johnson was the founder of BET. Now, listen, I'm not angry with Robert because some people were like, why we get stuff and why we got to sell it? Why we got to, if an opportunity comes that's going to cause my family to have generational wealth, I can understand why, because we're going to tell you, he sold it for $3 billion. He sold it for $3 billion, and he sold it in 2001, if I'm not mistaken. All this stuff is public information. He sold it for which afforded him, Derek, and made him the first African American billionaire in the United States, because we know billionaires over in Africa and other countries. Yeah. But he became the first Black African American. Hey, Trudy, good to see you, billionaire. This is Just Our Thoughts podcast with my best friend, Derek Scantlin. For those of you who are coming in, please share this, because this is some good information or some need to knows, because everybody's buzzing about the BET Awards and who won the Dr. Boby Jones Gospel category. All right, so that's Mr. Robert Johnson. Now, Derek, I know you know because you're a business person. I can honestly say $3 billion. Because I can start my own network. I can kind of reboot again. If I created one, I can create another. Yes. So I would not have. I don't think I would have. And that's $3 billion in 2001.
Yeah.
So here it is. So, yeah. What you say? What's your thoughts?
I was going to say for $3 billion, I probably, after sitting down looking at everything, I probably would have sold it and reinvented myself with another brand, and then probably kept that going on for, the generations behind me, family members, or those who I trust in the, as friendships develop or whatever, just so something can stay in our name. But I remember when cable came out. So I remember the beginnings of BET. I remember Mr. Johnson. I was hoping he was a relative, but uncle, if you are, your nephew here. So I remember all of this, and how proud we were as a culture to have a network that reflected us. Now I can say between back then to currently where we are now and what's going on now, definitely the culture has changed when it comes to how we represent ourselves. I am a part of the old, well, I guess I'm middle-aged now. I am in my 50s, so I guess I am middle-aged. So I'm used to the culture of the Stephanie Mills and the Gladys and the Patties and the Tinas and the Albertina Walkers, the Tremaine Hawkins, the Barrett sisters, and all of that. So how they dress back then, even though some of it was, it was risque with some of the stuff they did, but it was always still a certain class. And when I would say that, I would say out of the secular female artists, your Tina Turners, your Patti LaBelle, you know, those two were like the most risque artists when it came to females with their attire. But Tina was always a classy woman with it compared to what we see today. It's a lot more, personal opinion, it's a lot more muddish. It's not as
muddish.
classy. Like, I'm a Dynasty person. I'm a Dallas person. For those of y'all who knew that show, you know, it was something about those women, especially one in particular, Miss Diane Carroll. She just had a class about herself. But
Dominique Devereaux, what was her name, right?
Dominique Devereaux. It don't matter how much money you make now. Class, you either have it or you don't. But some people think they can buy it. They think they can buy it in shoes and wardrobe and hair and makeup and new teeth and all of the stuff that they do. But you can't buy class. It's something that you either you have it or you don't have it, or you seek for it. And in today's time, it's a lot different when it comes to the class of people. It's like class has gone out of the back door. It's just like prayer has gone out of the back door. We don't want God until something catastrophic happens. Now he is the primary focus. Now the networks are telling everybody, you know, let's pray for this and let's pray for that, when he should be the beginning of it all. He should be the center of it. But like I said, you know, I know this is an industry, and the first part of the industry is, you know, the basic ground is how much money are we going to make? So that's what they capitalize off of. So.
All right. We're going to go to this. Derek hit some good points, and y'all are starting to come in. Hey, Nuki. Now, listen, I need, because y'all comments are going to be highlighted through this as well. Now, here is Deitrick Haddon. Those of you who came in late, you're going to have to watch because we played the 2-minute clip. Deitrick Haddon showed, Denise says exactly, classy. That's true. Deitrick Haddon said he didn't call names, but it has been released because I Googled it and researched it and everything like that. So here it is. We're going to place this up. Here's the recipient of that Dr. Boby Jones Award. Glorilla goes home with, you see it there on your monitor. Glorilla.
Nice choir roll.
Goes home.
Like church to me. Somebody's church. It's just not my church. But
Glorilla goes home with the inspirational award at the 2025 BET Awards. That's all I can say. That's all I can say. So those of you who was wondering who it is or who got it, Derek, when I read it, and actually it's a collaboration. It's not a full-fledged gospel CD. It's not a full-fledged gospel CD. So,
well, I'll say this right here, because I watched a little of the awards. I didn't watch it straight through because of things that's, you know, that's going on in the world or whatever. But like, I just, as far as the inspiration, the first word, the Gospel Inspiration Awards. Now, I don't have a problem with anybody collaborating with anyone, any genre, whether it's gospel or not. You know, that's, you know, a lot of people that sing what the church or what the church calls secular, they did come out of the church. But in order to still be in that particular arena, I think you have to kind of like still carry yourself as if, you're still held accountable to someone for the things that you do, even though now you're at this particular stardom of your life. And I would use this young lady for an example. Fantasia. Everybody knows she came out of church. If you have not been to a Fantasia show, you know, she is 4 people wrapped up in one. The first time I ever saw her, which was years ago, I saw Tina Turner. I saw Patti LaBelle. I saw Diana Ross. I saw Gladys Knight. I saw Aretha. I said all that wrapped up in one bundle. Just imagine one person being able to personify all of that, but she still had a certain integrity about herself, on stage as well as off stage. Now, some of the costumes she wears, because they are costumes, and that's part of entertainment. Our cultural people, you have to entertain us. You can't stand in one spot and just sing a song the entire. That's not entertaining to us. So you got to go through some wardrobe changes. You got to have some different, moves or whatever. That's what entertain our culture. Our culture is not like country music.
Let me get this. I gotta read this statement by Teresa. She said, "So there was no gospel artist that could have won." I don't understand myself. That's the same thing that Deitrick Haddon had to say in his comment. Those of you and my high school bestie just came on. When I tell you she is something else, she can't. She got such a high profile job. I know she can't come on. And but and Miss Nuki, I know Nuki. That's my Philly family. She said she loved her concert. And Nuki's around about our age. She loves it. And I'm assuming you're talking about Glorilla, right? I've listened to some of her stuff, and it's just too much for me. It's too much. It's too heavy. I can't. But Derek said earlier, each culture has their own. Derek said it earlier, has their own version of risque, of pushing the line, of pushing the thing. So we'll try to play Deitrick Haddon's statement again for those of y'all who came in late. It's 2 minutes long, and I don't want to keep this commentary very long because I want you all to be able to share it. This is what Mona said. He's right, talking about you. The Black church has to be entertained. Love you too, Mona. No, you was talking about Fantasia. Oh, thank you, Nuki. I was getting nervous about you because Glorilla is too much. Mona says this. She says, now I'm not a Glorilla fan, but I do like a song or two. Because Mona, you just sent me a new song from her the other week, and I was like, it was cute, it was nice, but it was heavy. That's all I can say.
I couldn't tell you what she's saying because or I might have heard it and just didn't know it was her. So
yeah, it's not. She don't sing, Derek. Glorilla is a rapper, and she hardcore.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay.
One of those lick me, touch me. Dude.
Okay then.
Yeah. It's not for anybody under 18 should not listen to it.
Okay. Glorilla.
Okay. Glorilla. And my best Mona say exactly. All right. Now here's another thing. Now those of y'all who came in, we said something very BET was not owned anymore, like Derek said, by a Black person. This is the founder, and we said this to bring you all guys up the part. And this is Mr. Robert Johnson. He sold it in 2001 for $3 billion. 2001, $3 billion. I think I would have sold it too. $3 billion releases generational wealth. What you said, Derek?
I would have sold a couple of family members too for $3 billion. And I have 6 friends.
All right, but here's the different information. I think this is what I want to set up next. Black Entertainment BET is currently owned by Paramount Global under the CBS Entertainment unit. BET was originally founded by Robert Johnson in 1983 and was later acquired by Viacom, the predecessor to Paramount Global, in 2001. So we got to understand that we're dealing with people who's running it, who might not be familiar even with our culture, and especially with gospel music. What you say, Mona? Say you've heard her songs. They're all over social media. Okay, so we might not be able to identify her, but according to Mona, she's all over social media and stuff. But I know her concerts always bring in a spirit of uproar and raunchiness. When she was in Jacksonville, my younger cousins went, and they was telling me it was beyond lit. It was stuff going on in the bathrooms, and it was just so much. That's too much. But anyway, this is some other information, and we're gonna discuss this, and we're gonna let y'all go. But again, I like these kind of candid conversations because Deitrick Haddon said something so profound, and we're gonna play it again as we at the end. Here's another thing I want you all to understand: who owns it. This is a company. Well, this is the young man that's running it now, and his name is Scott Mills. This is Mr. Scott Mills. And as you look at it, I know you guys are wondering the same thing that I'm wondering.
President Scott Mills and his wife are divorcing.
Yes, they've divorced. This is the only clear picture that I think I could use. I found real quick. It's other pictures, but he did do an interview on Facebook about racial relations and things of that nature. Teresa Anderson, right, said, who voted for Glorilla? I don't know how that process went. I don't even know who nominated. But now, Mr. Scott Mills is the head man in charge, but his support staff or executives that work with him, I didn't have time to download all their pictures. It's one man and I think two women, and they're all black. They're all black. Now, how in touch they are with gospel music, I don't know. I have no idea, but he runs it. He's the person that's in charge, but it's owned by a company, and I'm just gonna nail it to. It's owned by Paramount. Paramount also owns Viacom. And these are all the channels that Viacom and Paramount are on. You see at the top, it's a family business. That lady standing in the middle, she is one of the family members of the Redstone, the Redstone family. And they have three entities: Paramount, Viacom, and Paramount Global. Paramount Global owns MTV, BET, Nickelodeon, and Comedy Central, and all of these other channels. Hey, Otis, good to see you, man. So all of these other channels all of this is under there. So it kind of explains a little bit, you guys, why BET is geared toward, as Derek said, is geared toward entertainment and not toward culture. That's my thoughts, Derek. I got to say that because I don't want somebody else to get. BET is not geared toward culturally informing. I think it's geared toward making the money. This Redstone family is extremely wealthy, and they are extremely the game people when it comes to entertainment. We just saw all the.
Excuse me for cutting you off. I would say this right here when it comes to the award show. For it to be the Dr. Boby Jones, Gospel Inspirational Awards, I think her being nominated was wonderful. She collabed a gospel song. Okay, somebody put her name in the hat. Not that the whole album was gospel, but she did a gospel song. If she got the votes for a nominee, okay, I understand that. But once again, when it comes to the integrity of that particular award, I personally think, it should have just went to someone that stays in that category. That's what they do. But we also know, as the Bible says, there's some carnal-minded people that, she the hottest thing right now, so they're not looking at it at a spiritual part of it. They're looking at it. This is reality right now. This is what we're going to do, yada, yada. So now, if it was on the BET Hip Hop Awards, and if by some chance we got a inspirational category, maybe she and whoever else that have done a collab with some gospel artists, I can see them doing that. Inspirational rap artists of the year, or whatever. I can see them adding that in there if that ever happens. But just on a regular platform, something that's strictly gospel. We know BET. We know Dr. Boby Jones is gospel. So that's a straight gospel platform, I think,
Yeah. And there are a few times Dr. Jones went to the BT show and he was like not insulted. He was just taken aback with the culture. And my friend, my bestie Mona, she gave a category of some of the songs and everything. And this is my mentor, one of the greatest men I've ever met, Elder Michael Moore. He said, I enjoy the excerpts I saw from BET Show. I thought it was one of the better ones, of course. I'm a Snoop Dogg fan and I love his genre. But I also agree with Derek in reference to all the years that artists have put out and have had been unpaid, unrecognized. When you get to the young lady, which I have no problem with her because she is who she is, but I do think that they search hard along to find a recipient of the Bobby Jones Award. I think it wasn't given any thought. And I got you, Michael. I understand your concept. I just think like I say, I think that was popularity number entertainment grab because this was interesting. This was completely interesting. What you say, Carolyn Glenn? Gospel music is changing. I think they forgot that the key word is gospel, good news. So saying that the award is going to change to because it's more gospel, but whatever I feel like saying. Okay, I got you, Carolyn. But to change from gospel to whatever I feel like saying. I think that's what you're saying. Because I'm trying to read. Derek, I need my readers. You around here fussing about yours.
Listen here. When I became a half a century is 50. When I hit 50, things in life just started changing. Like when did the words get so small?
Now listen, those of you who are on and you didn't come on early, we're going to go back and play this 2-minute clip, and then we're going to go out because we don't want to be long on this podcast. But I gotta share my thoughts because both Derek and I work in the gospel music industry. Both he and I work for an award show going on almost 20 years now. Derek started before me. He introduced me, and we'll talk about that coming back. Let me see what you say, Mona. What you say?
I've never heard this song anyway, but Derek called it "The Church Wants to Be Entertained," so that's what gospel genre is doing. And see, when I say entertain, I'm not talking about as far as like church people. Well, we are already a emotional type of people anyway. Let me say that. So whether it's church or whether it's R&B, we still like to be entertained. So you can't, for us, not anybody else's culture of music, but for us, you just can't stand up there and just sing with nothing else. Like I come to sing this song to y'all for the Lord. You got to give us a little bit. You got to give us something. You got to give us some feelings, some facial expressions, whatever. So, not the church per se, because we are the church to people, but the principle of the Bible doesn't change. You still have to be a light in this world. And we definitely can see how dark this world has become over the last 25, 30 years. So even though the sun is out, it's still a dark world out there.
My God, Derek, that's good, man of God. Like I'm gonna call you man of God. He don't confess to be no preacher.
Just a janitor. I just want to come clean up a little bit of stuff.
All right, here is the clip again for those of you all who came. We're gonna play it one more time. This is the clip. It's 2 minutes. So listen, if you come just not coming on, just listen to this. Listen to this.
The gospel music industry needs an overhaul, period. After last night's show, it's an indicator that we just need a complete reset. Like what are we doing? Are we allowing this to happen over and over again and wonder why the gospel music industry is dying? Come on, man. In order to have something different, you have to do something different. So we need people in the room that know gospel music, that's in the trenches of gospel music, that's advocating for the genre as a whole and not one particular person. It's already a small genre. So it's hard for us to watch the Dr. Boby Jones Gospel Award being given to somebody that's not in our space. right? No disrespect to the artist, but that's not the space she's in. And so it makes it discouraging, disappointing, and it takes the wind out of all of it. And we wonder why gospel music is dying. It's because we're doing things like that. Well, on top of that is we're tired. Nobody will say this, but I will. Of seeing the same people being celebrated year after year. Like there is nobody else in gospel music. Like no one else is working. You cannot just give it to one person as if they're the ones that's keeping it going. No. No. We're done with that. Last night was a great win for the ratings for BET. I give certain people awards for ratings, but it was not a win for the gospel music industry. We got to do better. So I propose let's start something where we can come together and have someone advocating for the genre that have no other motive and agenda in the room but to elevate the gospel music genre as a whole. That's what I...
All right. He touched something, and I just want to put my personal opinion on it. When he said the gospel music is dying, I understand what he's saying, but for people who may think the music is literally dying, it is not dying. Gospel is going to be here until the Lord says it's no longer. People always know where to come back to when things go wrong in life. They atheists, yeah, okay. They don't believe, but you let somebody put a gun to their head. Yeah, that part. So, the gospel music is here to stay forever.
Well,
I also agree
Derek,
with...
that's your thoughts now,
Yeah.
because the number said 2 years ago that, was it 2 years ago? You was with me when we was at I think it was a retreat, a conference. The numbers, the statistics said gospel music was going to be like disco, because we don't hear about disco no more. Mm-hmm.
Well, we don't hear about it on the stations that we listen to, but disco, disco's still here. The people that our age or older, they know disco. A lot of these younger people that's under us, they don't know. It's just like after a while, we know who Michael Jackson is. We know who Prince is. We know who Whitney Houston is. We know who all of these people are. After a while, because they're going to be gone 20, 30 years, their music won't be played on the main front like it was. So they'll be on the back burner, but they're still there. But people who were around when that music was around, it was like, oh my God, I miss this. I miss this girl, man. I miss this guy, yada, yada. So now, of course, like I said, the industry has changed tremendously when it comes to entertain and this stuff they're doing now. And then he mentioned about, seeing the same artists on the platforms and yada, yada, yada. And I understand that too.
Because him and Kurt has collabed. If you go online, they've collabed several times. I think they've even toured one time too, together.
I understand what he's saying, but it's almost like some of these same artists are putting music out consistently, but then also, we have to look at this radio system we have now versus when it was DJs. DJs had more of a liberty to play, what it is. Now everything is, this is a slot, and then this slot, these are the slot times that you're going to hear this person. These are the slot times.
Satellite radio. So celestial radio versus digital. And that's where you're talking. People don't realize digital radio has a playlist. Celestial, you can insert, as to who plays.
Until that changes, all we're going to keep hearing are those who are right now the hottest thing they believe is on the market. But there's several other artists out there that could have been nominated in that category. New artists, that have, maybe 1 or 2 CDs, I mean, it's so many other different artists, but because they're not getting that type of play, then we might have heard the song here and there, but consistently, who do we hear every day, almost the same time every day? You know, who is out there more consistent? So that's why that is happening. But once again, until they get somebody who can represent the genre with no hidden agendas and bring other people to the forefront, even if it's the upcoming artists, you know, new artists, or you know, whatever they want to name it, you know, where they can start putting people in those little plugs. So
Now I gotta go back and highlight, because some of these people are saying some of the things that you're saying. Teresa says it's all about the money now. She says all about the money. But my bestie Mona says some. She says some. And Trudy, they've been talking back and forth. They've been going so much. I can't highlight everything.
Thank you, Mona.
Mona says this. There was a time when all we heard was BBCC or Yolanda, and that's the truth.
That's true.
So you are right with going with what is the popular, what is the time now. Now Wanda P is calling me.
Bring on in here.
I gotta, I'm gonna hit up. Kurt Franklin was on BET. Okay, Trudy was saying when the last time she heard him, we talked about the Lion and the Lamb. Mona says something that I love, and she says, "Me and myself, I love Kurt," and she's laughing. And I love, I can praise Yahweh and dance with Kurt, you know, and that's good. And we got to understand that Kurt is really replaying a script that has already been written, because when James Cleveland came out, they didn't embrace him during his time.
Correct.
And when the the Hawkins, they gave the Hawkins a whole lot of flack. And then we saw on the movie of the Clark sisters that they got in trouble for going on an award show. I think the Grammys, they went on
award show.
Yeah, so they really got a lot of flack from the church. So
and now we want to go on those shows, but I can also say back then, that's just what they were taught. A lot of them were ignorant. They weren't dumb or stupid. They were just ignorant at certain things that they believe all of. They believe all of this. If it wasn't biblical, if it wasn't based around the Bible, it was a sin. Going to the movies is a sin. Putting on pants is a sin. Putting on makeup is a sin, which is not a sin. So, because some people put on makeup and it enhances what they have. Some people, it's just my personal opinion, God must have sneezed or coughed or turned his head. So some people put on makeup, but that's just my personal opinion.
Mona said exactly, and she's applauding you, Trudy. Okay, that I already went over that, Trudy. What Trudy has said, but again, I understand Deitrick Haddon, and Derek and I have both. We worked with him last year at the Stellas. Let's get into this. Stella Awards will be in August, this August in Nashville, and it's connected to. Hey, Tony Bellinger, you came in at a good time, even though as we wrapping this up, we're talking about. And Melinda just came in, Derek, my sister.
Hey, Melinda.
she laughing at you, said God turned his head. But for those of y'all who are coming in, we bring you up to part with what is kind of trending when it comes to gospel music, and the large statement, the bold statement that Deitrick Haddon said about the gospel market being saturated with the same people, and there are other people doing the same work. I'm just ad-libbing what he said. We done played it twice. And Kurt is like the chief person, and Kurt tries to be inclusive. He's not an exclusive guy. Derek and I have both worked with Kurt. Derek has worked a little more intimately with Kurt than I have. And we can honestly say, out of all of the gospel artists, he's the most kind, he's the most loving, he's the most inviting, he's the most social. He walked with kings, but he still has a common touch. And I like his acceptance speech. When he received his award, he says, I'm flawed. I'm messed up. I got all these issues and everything like that. He says, and I don't sing. I love what he said. And I should have featured that too. He said, I don't even sing. He said, but this award is given to me. He says, and for all of the people who feel like you shouldn't receive certain things, keep going. You know, he said, because that's how you know God's hand is on you, when you're doing stuff that don't make no sense, but and that was very inspirational to me. That I felt that. Ramona says it's Kirk's time, and I'm here for it. Mary was hot in the 90s. We just have to respect popularity, hard work, and dedication to their craft.
And I agree with that.
Yeah.
I completely agree with that. Kirk doesn't sing, but God has afforded him the ability to write and play and to build relationship with these voices, whether lead or background, to bring together what needs to be heard. And unless he does it, when I say he, I'm talking about the man upstairs, unless he doesn't, it won't get done. So you don't have to be a singer in order to be appreciated in the industry that you're in, whether it's music or whether it's a judge or a school teacher or what have you. So, but Kirk is one of the nicest, most consistent people I have ever met, or person I have ever met. God, I sound ignorant, in the gospel industry. Even when, you know, I see him about, and there's, you know, it's not a gospel entity. Like he was here in Atlanta. I think they were taping something, and I ran into him at a restaurant. And so, you know, I didn't know he was there, but I heard some other people making noise. I said, well, what are you making noise for? And when I walked over, he saw me and I saw him. But, you know, I let people do what they do, you know, because, you know, people see celebrities, you know, they whatever, which is fine. So, you know, I just waited my little time like I know him to do. And then, you know, he used his little words with me. It wasn't profanity, but you know how Kirk is always joking. You know, he called me that nigga. Well, what, you thought I didn't see you? So, but he is, like I said, he's one of the most consistent, nicest, down-to-earth person you could ever meet. And the only difference between any celebrity and us, we have hang-ups, all of us do, but our hang-ups don't get exposed like theirs. That's the only difference. We all have fallen short at some point in time in our life. We all, you know, we all have that special family. And I love my special family. You know, we all go through things. The only difference is I can do something and walk in Walmart. Nobody ever knows. But you let me get to a status, and now I'm all over social media.
Listen, you know, my sister is a mess. That's my baby sister, y'all. Rack House Publishing is my baby sister.
All right.
And she's very verbal and vocal. Talking about Kurt need to calm down with all that dancing. Ramona replies back to her, which is my high school bestie, with her crazy self. Talking about Kurt is dancing like David. Melinda, let him dance.
As long as he don't come out his clothes, I'm fine.
No, if he come out his clothes, honey, the rating's gonna go up, and so many people gonna lose it. They really gonna, because you know he already displayed. Now we finna be a little messy right here. You know, he said he writes songs naked, so he said he be on his piano butt naked, and they tried to wear Kurt out about him being naked writing songs. And hey, if he has to go naked before the Lord to get a revelation, because them songs are hits, let him write. And the toxic masculinity, they ate him up on that. Ain't nobody got time for that bull crap. Well, Kurt, keep writing naked music.
Well, you know what? Maybe I need to sit at the table naked. Matter of fact, where's my pen at? As soon as we get off, so the Lord can give me some revelations. And yeah, Lord, here I am before you. Just joking, people. That's a joke. Ha 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 ha.
Mona said, "I hope he never comes out his clothes because I'm going to look." Oh
my God,
Nuki, okay. Y'all commenting like crazy now. This is what we want. I'm here for all the Kirk entertainment. That says Nuki. Rack House. My sister says new song is hot. Good. It's good. She says good. Ramona is laughing at you, Derek. She laughed and said, "Me too." Derek, me too. But
listen here.
All I got to say is we got to get out the box. Wanda is on. Now I know her camera is a little was off, but we can hear her. Wanda, can we say something?
Hey, how are you? Can you hear me good?
Yes,
We
we
can hear
can,
you, Wanda.
Wanda P.
For
Hey,
those of you who don't know,
what's
Wanda
happening?
P is we're talking about the thing that the statement Deitrick Haddon made about gospel music and well, I can say the name now, can't I, dare, because I don't put it out there, and Glorilla
And they
winning the
well,
Dr.
Oh,
Boby Jones
BET
gospel.
Awards. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, those of you who don't know, my friend Wanda she's Jacksonville. She is our princess of gospel music on the radio. Yeah, Hot 106.5 executive Rick and Morning Smiley Show. Very revered. And she just won an award. You guys will see her on Gospel Fest receiving an award. So Wanda
yeah.
is my sister. She is somebody to know. And I'm so glad. So Wanda is in gospel music. So I wanted her to share her little. She was calling me while we was on. I wanted her to share what she says.
Another white.
You mean regarding the Glorilla's win? Now I didn't get to hear what Dietrich Haddon said, so y'all gonna have
Okay,
to tell me.
we want to. Well, can you hear? Because I could play it again. It's 2 minutes long, but
Okay.
for the
Yeah.
people, okay, and those of you who are coming in, we're catching you up as well. This is the commentary Derek and I want to, and we're gonna get Wanda camera working so she could be on because I gotta have my sister on.
Well, here's the thing. I'm driving,
Oh, okay,
so yeah.
oh, okay, all right.
Well, okay. Well, now that Wanda have said that, because
Uh-huh.
I was wondering, like when Deitrick was saying all that, he was in the car. So I was saying to myself, well, is Deitrick driving too? Because that's against the law to be on the phone and all that stuff. But anyway,
Yeah, yeah. Tony
Well,
Bellinger.
I had my headphones on, so
Okay.
we're good and safe.
good.
Teresa said, I love to hear his music, but I just don't like watching him. That's just me. And Teresa, we want those. We want both sides of the coin on this. You know, Tony Bellin said
Yeah.
his wife is a Christian artist. Tony, thank you for letting us know about your wife and stuff. Hopefully, this kind of information. Derek and Wanda are dear to me, and they both work feverishly in the music industry. So this is Cyber Mona said this is so good. This is the commentary we need to talk about in the Black church. All right, now here it is,
Sure.
Wanda. I hope you can hear it. I'm
Okay.
gonna replay
All
it.
right.
It's 2
Okay.
minutes long, so here we go. Here we go, you
Mhm.
guys.
The gospel music industry needs an overhaul, period. After last night's show, it's an indicator that we just need a complete reset. Like what are we doing? Are we allowing this to happen over and over again and wonder why the gospel music industry is dying? Come on, man. In order to have something different, you have to do something different. So we need people in the room that know gospel music, that's in the trenches of gospel music, that's advocating for the genre as a whole and not one particular person. It's already a small genre. So it's hard for us to watch the Dr. Boby Jones Gospel Award being given to somebody that's not in our space, right? No disrespect to the artist, but that's not the space she's in. And so it makes it discouraging, disappointing, and it takes the wind out of all of it. And we wonder why gospel music is dying. It's because we're doing things like that. Well, on top of that is we're tired. Nobody will say this, but I will. Of seeing the same people being celebrated year after year. Like there is nobody else in gospel music. Like no one else is working. You cannot just give it to one person as if they're the ones that's keeping it going. No. We're done with that. Last night was a great win for the ratings for BET. I give certain people awards for ratings, but it was not a win for the gospel music industry. We got to do better. So I propose let's start something where we can come together and have someone advocating for the genre that have no other motive and agenda in the room but to elevate the gospel music genre as a whole. That's what I...
And we're back.
Hmm.
All right. Wanda, did you hear it?
Oh yes. Oh yes. And if you want me to comment, I surely will.
Go ahead.
I agree with Deitrick. When I have not watched the BET Awards yet. Um, but what happened was because I've been in DC and Maryland for Gospel Superfest, but I saw Bonita Bellamy posted about the fact that Glorilla won this Dr. Bobby Jones award. I immediately commented and said, "What?" I said, "We that's ridiculous." And what I said was, "We need to start a letter writing campaign or something. This makes no sense." And I've got to agree. So today, when I was at work at the radio station, I had shared that and had a brief conversation with my coworker who's on afternoons at Hot 1065, Sean Knight. And Sean said, "Well, Wanda, look at no, it wasn't Sean. It was my other coworker, Tori, aka Shout Out, who is a hip hop artist and as well as he does sales for the station." He said, "Well, look at who owns BET." I said, that is a very good point. It is not black owned anymore. It is owned by Viacom or somebody like that. So they don't have the point he was making is that they don't have a vested interest in gospel music. So I said, "You're absolutely right." And with that being said, we somehow need to let them know. Just like a lot of us have not watched American Idol in years until this year, um, that might be another thing we need to do is not watch BET Awards. I know I didn't watch last year or the year before, and I work. My radio station is an R&B station, but we play gospel music, so I'm still heavily involved and interested in gospel music and the genre. But we do need to make our voices heard to these entities that are outside of the space. They need to know of our displeasure. And whether that's a letter writing campaign, whatever, us doing, post and tagging the parent company of BET as well as the BET, letting them know of our displeasure with this. No offense to Glorilla, but again, this is not her lane. And granted, she has the right to make all the music, inspirational music, and the collaborations that she wants. But it does do a disservice to those who are in the trenches doing this music
My God.
day in, day out, and that's dedicated to this genre. So it's not right. It's not right. And we need to let them know that.
Thank you, Wanda
Okay.
P.
Now, Wanda, you said, now
Mm-hmm,
listen, Wanda, you said something that we covered at the beginning of the show. So because we
mm-hmm,
got a lot more people on now. So let me
yeah,
go over this again. You said
mm-hmm,
something about the history of BET. For those of you
yeah.
who don't know, this guy right here, those of you who are watching it, this is the founder of BET. I gotta back all the way up there. Okay, there we go.
The founder is Bob Johnson. Oh, yeah, right. There we go.
No,
Yep,
no,
yep.
Robert
That's the founder.
Johnson.
Mm-hmm,
Robert
Bob
Johnson,
Johnson.
he in
Yep.
1983, he did BET. Now, me and Derek
Right.
talked about it earlier. We're going to rehatch this. I
Mm-hmm,
would have done what Robert done. In 2001, he sold BET
sure.
for $3 billion. And this is
Yeah.
2001. He
Mm-hmm,
became the first African American billionaire. So I would
mm-hmm,
have done it too. But I don't know, in his clause or in the selling clause, they said for so many years you can't start another network, or because they
right.
will put things like that in contracts. But I would have given it to a relative to tell them to start, because it was bought by, as Wanda said, listen to you guys, so you'll know that the dynamics, politics,
Mm-hmm,
and things that's in the gospel music. Because Mr. Tony Bellinger just said about the Jews owning it.
mm-hmm,
Viacom is owned by a family. There is owned by the Redstone family. The
mm,
Redstone family owns Paramount, Viacom, and
right.
Paramount Global. Under
Right.
Paramount Global, here it is. I'm gonna put this up too. Under Paramount Global is MTV, BET, Nickelodeon, and Comedy Central.
Mhm.
Viacom, Paramount, and Paramount Global. All of these channels that you all see are owned by this lady in the middle is one of the Redstones. She is one of the family members that own this. Now, it is ran by this guy right here. It is ran by Scott Mills. Scott
Mm.
Mills does not kind of look like us, but I Wanda, maybe you can identify Derek. You can Google and search. It does not say what he identifies. I searched for 2 hours to see what his ethnicity identifies as,
He
and
light skinned.
yeah, but now he did do a interview 4 years ago on Facebook about
Mhm.
racial interaction and race relations and things. He not to say this is me allegedly. I got to cover myself. Not to say that being black has a sound. He does not sound like one of us at all. If you
Mhm.
hear him talk,
So
but
I'm sorry. Is he black?
I couldn't find out. I couldn't.
Oh, okay.
I googled. I researched.
Mhm.
What's his racial ethnicity? What does he identify? I couldn't find it for
Okay.
some reason. And
Mhm.
anyway, he's the one who now the people who work under him, his other executives, they're black. It's a lady and two other men. I didn't want to put all that in, but I just want people to understand this that
Mhm.
they're not concerned about gospel music. I'm just
No,
being
they're not.
honest.
Exactly. And that was what I was saying. They're not. And so it is up to us to make our voices heard in this space. Dietrich also said something about, yeah, we need to do a whole redo and all of that. And we're not and even with other awards, it's as if only a few people are making this industry go. Um, but that's the reason why there's so many independent gospel award shows and programs and things of that nature, is because to help foster the point he was making about just a few people when it comes to the big award show in this industry. It's as if only a few people are responsible for all the hits and all that. And to his point, at least that's the point that I
Mm,
thought he was making. But that's the reason why there are so many independent, because there are so many artists out there that are doing this music. And they're not with major labels. They're not getting major radio airplay. And I can say that because I work for a corporate radio company, and
mm.
independent artists are rarely played. There are some things I'm working on to kind of try to change that, because there are a lot of great indies out there.
Hmm.
So anyway,
Yeah.
anyway,
I
yeah,
gotta
yeah,
say
yeah.
this comment by Tony Bellinger. Well,
Hmm.
Tony, this is a powerful statement, and I do understand it. He says, "I will say that gospel music isn't a color, but it does has a sound and a pure relationship with God, and that is so
Hmm.
true because
Sure.
the Hawkins conference was, I believe, in Sweden. It was in, and there wasn't that many black and brown people there, but Rick, and that's under Donna Lawrence. Donna
Mm.
Lawrence now runs Love Alive. I don't know if they gave it a new name, but the conference that was set up by the Hawkins, and you can see the clips on social media. It's more and more people of other race singing gospel music, and they're doing good. The Asians and the Swedish people, they're loving and embracing the sound and the field of gospel music. Gospel music is something that has a sound and a feeling that goes with it. All right. So I understand that statement, Tony. Now I do want to say this, and we're not gonna hold y'all long because we might have to do a part two with this when Wanda is stationary.
Amen.
um, we want people to know that there is. This is me, Wanda and Derek, and you guys can rebuttal me because on
Sure.
this we want to talk about all sides of the coin. I believe that there is a spot. Is a place for gospel music, and it's the Stellas. There's
Hmm.
so many people who have
Absolutely.
not been to the Stella Awards, who have not participated. There's Stella sanctioned events that go on doing it, and then there's Stella on their events that go on around the Stella Awards. This year,
True.
Mr. Don, me and Derek has worked with the Stella Awards for now. Derek has did it more than me. He should be like on 20. I should be like on 18 or 19 years, and there's so many people who's never been in the arena where our music is appreciated, even
Yeah.
though their politics, even to the Stellars, there's still
Right.
political things there to that.
Right.
But start gearing more, connect artist development to the Stellars, create a market for independent artists to showcase and display their stuff that's connected to the Stellars, that is Stellar sanctioned, so they'll be able to sing in front of a panel of A-list, not to be judged, but to simply say, this is what you need to change, or this, whatever, because it's so much to it. Yeah, that's all I got to say. Now, Trudy, you have been given so much information, how you feel about the spiritual relationship to it. And Trudy, I love you. You're my girl, and what you're saying is true. But when it comes to business, the spirituality is out the door, Trudy.
Yeah.
It is.
We can say what the Bible say and what God say and but Trudy, they're not listening to that. All those people want to do is find stuff to make money. And even with a show like the Stellars, we still have to have major sponsors.
Yes, we do.
You hear me? We still have to have people come on that will gird. When I started with the Stellars, Derek can say amen. We had Chevrolet, we had 1 year Ford, we had all these other companies, and they paid.
We had Walmart,
Anybody that
State Farm. It was so many major corporations, but a lot of that has changed. Like a lot. It's like it's like scraping the bottom of the barrel now, trying to get 1 or 2, and maybe some small ones that can kind of help out because of how things in life has changed the United States. So
yeah,
and who knows what it's going to be like now that we have this interesting CEO of the United States. So
that's true. All right. We're not gonna hold you, but I'm gonna give Derek and Wanda just about 2 minutes, 3 at the most, to just recap. Y'all, thank y'all so much for coming on. Please share this. Share this. I'm gonna have my family. These 2 people on are my family, Derek and Wanda. I couldn't imagine life without either one of them, and that's a bold statement, and I love them just that much. So we got to come on back and talk about this so much. Trudy, here go my Trudy. I love my Trudy. What I got y'all read what Trudy said, because I did address it to her. Trudy said, I can understand it's so that it means that we have to conform in order to have sponsorship. That's a bold statement. Trudy, that's a wonderful statement.
Well, and maybe she shouldn't look at it like in terms of sponsorship. Sponsor everything your radio stations run off of sponsorship. Well, what we call advertising, and that's what sponsorship is. It's advertising. And guess what? If there were no consumers, there wouldn't be a need for sponsors and advertisers. And guess what? We in the church and gospel space, we are consumers. We have to buy products and services just like everybody else. So that's what that is about. And anyway, that's what it's all about. Yeah.
Well, and Trudy says she enjoyed this, and I need people on like Trudy. That I'm gonna give you, Derek. I'm gonna give it to you. We need people like Trudy who's not gonna agree with everything. Brooke Abbott, my bestie, she said, teach Wanda. But listen, money answers all things. That's what the Bible says.
That's what the Bible says.
So, let me give it to Derek. Wanda, if you could see Derek, he's a clown. But we gotta have money. I need money to do ministry, so that's why I pull for sponsors and patrons and givers, because you gotta have money. All right, Derek, there we go.
What Trudy was saying, what she was saying is like conform to it. I can't really say it's conform. I can't say it's conforming. But entities have certain things that they just won't promote if it's too risque for their client base. So I have been saying this for years, and I know church folk probably finna get me. And Trudy B probably finna get me too. But if a major sponsor came to the Stellars and say, we will drop $500 million as a sponsor. But this entity is not gospel. It's a secular, what church folk call a secular entity. If Royal Crown, the alcohol company, Hennessy, Ciroc, if they said, we love gospel music, it's just so happened we sell alcohol, we'll give you $500,000 to be your sponsor, the church folk will go up in a uproar. They were like, well, why would they be promoting that? But the Bible also says the wealth of the sinners is stored up for the just. So all because they sponsoring us don't mean we're in agreement to what they sell. It's so many clothing designers out there and so many other entities, stuff that we support that don't even know is completely contrary to what we believe in the Bible. But we still buy them shoes. We still buy that brand of clothes. We still support this car, this, that. But without the money, we can't run that. And unfortunately, we know the gospel community ain't finna pay what needs to be paid in order for us to be appreciated in our own genre of music. That's the unfortunate part. For me, like an average concert, I think an average concert ticket, the nosebleed seats is $75. But in Duval County, if it ain't a mainstream and you charging more than $100 for a ticket, they ain't coming out to the show.
Facts.
And that's secular. That's gospel. And I'm telling you this because, well, for those who are in Duval County, I'm from Duval County, so I worked the old Coliseum before they turned into what looked like a gray spaceship.
The veterans.
I was the box office supervisor. I was one of the managers that ordered all of the food and the cups and the napkins and the popcorn. That was me. And then when I went to the box office supervisor for Ticketmaster, I started seeing these shows and how much money it costs to put on a show. And that's why a lot of shows jump from Atlanta, drive straight through Jacksonville, and go to Orlando, Tampa, Miami, St. Pete, Fort Lauderdale, because it takes money. So.
Yeah, now y'all for to open up a whole nother can, and like I said, trying to keep this under an hour, so y'all got to promise me that when we come back, that you all will log in, because we like to post your thoughts as well, and that you will jump in and share this. All right,
who is it? Just posted these
I got it. Wait a minute.
Who is this?
That's Mona, my bestie. But listen, I got to explain why those tickets are high, Mona. I got to go back to something Tony Bellinger said. He mentioned about Esther's look, and this was the truth. Esther had to look great to get attention of the king. All of that has to do with presentation and stuff. A lot of people had a lot of stuff to say about Kurt being so revealing and not revealing. The church folks said worldly, but your looks has to matter too. The looks and the money are very important when it comes to entertainment. So I thought that was a good statement to highlight. Mona definitely been given a whole lot, and Trudy said she get it, and she said another statement that was good. She said, I get it. She said, and just because they give it to you doesn't mean you have to serve a drink. Well, I get it, Trudy, but Bacardi sponsored Stella's one year, and I hope I don't get in trouble for saying it, but it was at the after party. So and I can't tell you that they didn't
and see, Trudy,
wait a minute, they sponsored that after party.
They were there, they were represented. It was a lot of this.
It was the after party that I went to, right? The one
I think so. Yeah, they were there,
Lord.
and all of this stuff was up, and the bar was open. But we ain't gonna get in trouble with that. So
anybody who goes to after parties, for those who don't know, a post show and all that stuff like that,
right?
You know, we do production stuff. So at these post shows, a lot of these sponsors, for tax write-off, they give stuff to give to the people that comes to the parties. So like at the Grammys, it's nothing for you to get if Apple is a sponsor, it's nothing for you to get a gift bag with Apple product.
Apple products.
If James Smith, it's nothing in there for you to get the smartwatches and this, or if ABC is something, it's nothing. So when they become a sponsor, it's a tax write-off for them to give away stuff. Now, all because they give it to you, just like you said, you don't have to use it. But if somebody finna give me something, I don't care where it come from, I'm gonna use it. And I ain't gonna drink because I ain't no drunk. But hey, I'll be right back. I have to take a commercial break.
Derek is crazy. I'm gonna say this, and we got it. When he come back, I'm gonna let him give his outro. Robin done chimed in talking about yes, because that's the show we all was
that was the after party. We were there, but you know what? Here's the thing, and let me say this: I don't even recall seeing that. I guess because I was so focused on the atmosphere, it was so lighthearted and fun, and it was so cool to see like Kurt Franklin and his wife come in and start dancing, and it was good. It wasn't raunchy music or anything like that. It was clean R&B music and probably some gospel music that has kind of a bop to it, but. I don't even recall even seeing the bar, but that's just because I wasn't paying attention and my mind wasn't even there. And even if I had seen the bar, because I'm not a drinker like Derek, I'm not going to drink. So for me, I mean, I'm just saying.
Girl, did you say a drinker? You got to back up. Did you say you're not a drinker like Derek? Did you say that?
No. I said like Derek. I'm not a drinker. Oh,
okay.
That's not one of my hangups. So.
Right. So, I didn't even, and I didn't see anybody with a drink, and the artists, because there were several artists, like I just mentioned, Kurt Franklin and his wife were there at the after party. I didn't see no artists with drinks in their hand. I didn't see any of that. It was just a whole lot of fun.
It's just the point that name is there, and anything that doesn't promote the gospel, the real super saints just think, we shouldn't have nothing to do with it. But like I said before, the Bible said the wealth of sinners is stored up for the just. So if somebody came to your household that's an atheist and they say we want to give you $1 million, what you gonna tell them? I ain't gonna take your $1 million because you don't believe in God. The devil is a liar.
Yeah, there. Robin is spilling the guts, the beans, the tea, and everything. She said it was a line for the drinks.
Oh, it was. I don't think
you was paying attention, but it was a line. Robin is
okay.
But hey, it doesn't matter to me.
But Robin didn't know if they was getting a Burley Shirley Temple or not. She went around there sipping on them, and then again, she might have been sipping on them. I don't know.
Let me say, Mona is crazy. Derek, you're gonna enjoy this comment. She said, I'm gonna do what Yahweh said: drink and be merry. Hallelujah.
Just don't get drunk. Just don't get drunk.
Just don't get drunk.
That's what she said. Right. And now my sister said something true. Now, I got to go back up because these statements are coming in. My sister says, she said, I think it's a matter of standards, not conforming. Everything has a standard, even our jobs. So I got you.
Very good point.
But hey,
yeah,
that's a sin. Spandex is a sin.
Shut up, Derek.
I can't
Derek talking about spandex is a sin.
Ain't a sin. You're going to the beach. You're going to run through the park. It ain't a sin. But just putting on spandex. Come on now. Come on, church people.
Derek, leave that alone. Robin said, whatever, Derek. And these people, we got to go because we got to let Wanda get where she's going. And Derek, thank you so much. I love these kind of discussions, and I love highlighting what people say. I hope y'all enjoyed this. We're going to log off. Derek, Wanda, I'm going to let you go first, Wanda, 2 minutes. Just kind of give a good wrap up on what we said or how your feelings are with it.
Yeah, well, I don't have much to say. Because I did miss the BET Awards, I do plan to go back and watch it and see what everybody was talking about online. But like I said, I am serious. I mean, we do need to make our voices heard to the people, that man, whether he black, white, red, and his staff, about our displeasure with them awarding this girl this award in Dr. Bobby Jones' name. When
Yeah.
there are artists out there, and evidently they have not been exposed to them, that are actually, again, doing the work in gospel music. So we're going to have to some kind of way, we need to let them know
Yeah.
that they're here, and and there's more people out there doing gospel music besides Kurt Franklin, um and I don't get me wrong, love me some Kurt, come on now. This industry without Kurt just wouldn't be the same. So
Yeah.
just like, the death of our Troy Sneed, I see that void in gospel music now that Troy Sneed's not here. And now the same Norman Hutchins,
Yeah.
is gone, so um and then what is his name? The other, oh gosh, I forget his name, but yeah, these giants that are in this genre, um, yeah, their voices need to be elevated. But we're gonna have to let the powers that be at BET know that this is not acceptable, and to us, it's not right. And because we have been supporters of the network, we may not need to be supporting the network as much, and that kind of will hurt their bottom line, because if there's no viewership, advertisers will pull back. So yeah, we have to just make our voices heard and take a stand that way. That's it. And thank you for having me on. And hey, Derek,
Of
good to
course.
see you.
Hey, Wanda. Tori is my cousin. Just the FYI.
Oh, for real though.
100%.
I should have known you would.
Yeah.
Oh, everybody in Jacksonville is your cousin.
Yeah.
Wow.
But okay.
Derek, go ahead and give
Okay.
your outro.
So I agree with what Wanda said, but Wanda, this is what I said earlier. I said, like, for those who keep showing up in the same category every year, the ones that we see, I said one of those reasons is because radio isn't like it was 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, when we had disc jockeys that actually could choose the music. Now there's slots,
True.
and those slots, are in there. And in order to change it, it's almost like you gotta get a confirmation email from God just to put the newcomers in a regular rotation. So that could be one of the reasons why we keep seeing the same people, because as far as the industry is, it's the same people that are in those slots every year. Every now and then you might sneak in somebody new, but they got to be hot. They got to be a Pastor Mike or something like that in order to get into those slots.
Right.
So, but anyway,
Yeah.
but this is good. Thank you for interrupting me, Follins, and creating this, but I enjoyed it. I really did.
I love you guys. And just got to get this one last statement. Miss Gina Leonard said the church/gospel music industry gatekeepers doesn't allow much for new and evolving artists. I want to say to that, I understand with your statement, but people don't know who the true gatekeepers are. It's not the people out front. They don't know these people who are in the back, who's running everything. These are the people who promote people. And I'm not calling them gatekeepers because I don't want to get in trouble. But these are people who make the stars and keep them up front, such as the people like Neely Dickinson, Vicky and Claude, Lottie.
Yeah.
How do you say their name?
Latia.
And then Mr. Don and his new wife Teresa, who's no stranger to the industry, the Jacksons. There's several other people that people need to get to know. But independent artists don't take time to go to the places where they are. A lot of them do free in services free. They don't even know who Talisa Stinson is, who's still a major part of gospel music. So you got to get to know the people behind the scenes. Andre Gates, who we work with,
I was gonna say, when I moved here, Of course,
Mhm.
everybody know who the faces are. Yes, you know who the this and the that. But when I met Andre, Andre took me pretty much under his wing and said, "I'm going to show you the people who you need to know that you'll never see their face, but
Yeah.
these are the people that help create and that keep these faces
Yeah.
going."
Yeah.
So I learned who were the behind the scenes and like, whoa, so that's who, that's what that. But everybody
Yeah.
knows who celebrities are, but
They don't know.
as Patty LaBelle say, this show business will be the business that will show you if you don't learn it. Being an artist, if you sing, that's something that naturally you do if you have it. But learning the business is something you want to know.
Yeah. Yeah. Because if I'm not, Melinda, go to bed. She said, "Thank you, Mr. Atheist," and she laughing at you. Yeah, I think Vicky and Claude are the ones who discovered Kurt. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, Mona says, "I agree. You have to network if you want to be in the area." A lot of the independent artists, and we were just at Miss Cora's conference. I got to go. We was at Cora's conference, and Cora I talked to them about this too. You can't expect to go where they are if you don't know who they are.
Yeah,
and that's the truth.
and build genuine relationships.
And put your money to the side. It takes money.
Don't come in like a star in the wonder. Build
Mm,
genuine relationships, because when you hot, but everybody don't stay hot for their entire life.
yeah.
You hot for
Okay.
your season, you get in, but then if you build relationships, consistent relationship, true, genuine, people don't forget about you. And that's what I said about my secular artist, Mr. Franklin Beverly. The man ain't made
Derek.
an album in 40-something years, but he was no one
Right.
in the industry that I know of wanted to come behind him.
Right.
Wow. Well, all right, guys, we gotta go. Thank y'all so much, y'all, because
Right.
we can go on and on about this conversation. But I've interrupted these two people's day. And thank y'all for letting me interrupt y'all day. Thank you, all y'all.
All right.
Thank you, Brooke, Ramona,
Yeah.
Trudy. Thank you, my
Thank you,
sister,
Trudy.
Red House, Tony Bellinger, all of Sister Gina, all of you all who gave good comment. Teresa Anderson, right? Everybody who shared. And we want my thoughts to be something that you can share your thoughts as well. All right. With that being said, love everybody. Y'all have an amazing day. All right.
Take
And
care.
We'll send this invoice too.
shut up, Derek. You hear Wanda? Such a celebrity. Melinda is right. You're an atheist. You're a non-believer.
That's okay. We need money too. My light bill do.
Good night. Good day, y'all. Have a good one.
Right.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.